So we're now going to look at, for this afternoon, I want to revisit the intentions of this morning that I said that this is for you and for you to take a U-turn and bringing back to yourself some care and some kindness that you are so often, and probably the majority of your time, whether you're a parent, whether you're a professional caregiver, giving out to others. So we've heard a lot this morning about, what stress is and what caregiver fatigue is and why it happens and why you're vulnerable to it. And we've also heard about protective variables and factors. And what I want to focus on now for the afternoon are things you can do yourself. So even if, and I don't think it's going to be the case for most of you, even if there were no other protective, even if the various systems that you're dealing with, you can't find protective sources there, which you probably can. The government isn't one you like. There's not this, there's not that, there's not the next thing. These are things that you can do yourself. So we're going to focus on that. You as the caregiver, you as a parent can do yourself. And so those two things are self-care, as well as a mindful self-compassion, which is a very special form of mindfulness practice. And it's particularly helpful for caregivers and for those who give out a lot of compassion to others. So we'll start with self-care and kind of explain what is meant by that. And as I mentioned earlier, everything I am citing in terms of what is beneficial, there is research to support that. So why consider it? I think we've talked about this morning, parents who have children with special needs may spend an inordinate amount of time caring for their children at the expense of caring for others. We know that's the case when parents have logged parents of children with special needs compared to typical parents, how they spend their time every day. Those who have children with special needs are spending much more time caring for their child, engaging in a lot of the institutions, et cetera, related to their child's special needs, and not spending the same amount of time as parents who have typical children on their own needs. There are a lot of myths about self-care as well as self-compassion, like it's lazy, it's selfish. Welsh, who has written a lot on self-care, calls this responsible selfishness. Like, yes, that's fine, you're giving to yourself, but it's the responsible thing to do because it's going to help you as a caregiver. And we know, like the oxygen mask, that caring for yourself increases your well-being, and that makes you better able to care for others. So if you look at that systems theory again, your characteristics, your strengths, your empowerment is going to support your child. Just like when the school system or the medical system supports you and helps you, you're going to be better able to support your child, and your child will do better. So even if you just think, my priority is my child, then great. Here's a good reason to practice self-care. So you cannot pour from an empty vessel. So those of you who are, this is, not my saying, it's a famous frequent saying, those of you who are pouring out all the time, whether you're a parent, whether you're an EA, whether you're a teacher, whether you're whatever, counselor, if your vessel is empty, if you have nothing to, if you've got no kind of feel-good, warmth, hearts, butterflies, whatever it represents for you in there to pour out, you can't do it. You actually burn out and you stop doing it. So components of self-care, you'll see self-care described in a lot of different ways, but there are various conceptual frameworks defining self-care, and this is one that's frequently used. So when these components are practiced, they increase resilience, they increase your ability to bounce back and recover. So they can be broken down into physical, things you can do to look after your body and your health, physical health, social and interpersonal relationships, professional and work components, personal development, and psychological, emotional. Often spiritual is included in that, and I left it off because sometimes that can be controversial. But just to address it, because if you look up these models, you may see it. It doesn't necessarily mean organized religion. It can be, or it can be finding ways to find a greater meaning in life. But I'm not really going to go there too much. So what does physical mean? I also just want to say, actually I'll go back to that, is you might hear somebody saying, what can you do for self-care? And I actually gave you a little handout that isn't mine. The reference is on 50 ways to take a break. Those are actually ways to take a break. But if you look at those, you can group them and categorize them by some of them are physical. Some of them are psychological. And so it shouldn't just be nilly-willy. It should be planned and thought out in addressing where are the areas that you need and that you can care for yourself. So physical is caring for the body, things like getting enough sleep, eating healthy food. Now, if it were up to me, it would be dark chocolate, ganache, and red wine. But, you know, a little bit of that's good. But if that's all I did, which should probably be, you know, I might like to just do that, I wouldn't be very healthy. So you want to eat healthy food because we know the research, there's food that's healthy and actually nourishes your body. And then there's those other things that a little bit, actually, I was really thrilled to find out that dark chocolate and red wine actually have resveratrol in it and increases antioxidants. But very, very sadly for me, I found out that it's kind of like one little square of dark chocolate and one glass of red wine. So monitor your use of that. But a little bit can be helpful. Exercise by doing something you like. And so what is it that you like or you have time to do? So I have 2 big dogs, and whether I like it or not, I have to walk them, but I actually like it. If I didn't have those dogs, I would just sit around a lot more. I know I would. But also I like to swim. I don't like running. Like, I really don't even think I can run. And so I'm not going to try to become a runner. So think about what is it that you like. You don't have to go to an aerobics class. Find something that you like and try to do that. And then paying attention to your body. So that's something, again, when I started practicing mindfulness, I realized I really was not aware of what was going on in my body. And when I started practicing the mindfulness, actually learning mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, I felt really bad. And I said to the instructors, I don't know what's going on with me. My back is sore. I'm getting all these headaches. And I'm taking this mindfulness class, and I'm supposed to be feeling better. And what he said to me is, you are just now learning to pay attention to your body. And there's all this stuff going on that you've just blocked out and not noticed. So you learn to do it by doing things like scanning your body, which is an exercise, moving mindfully. It doesn't mean you have to run. It means paying attention to what you're doing, noticing how your body's feeling. And then when you actually notice it, you can respond to its signals better than saying, well, I better just go run now, you know, and now I'm going to sprain my leg because I've, you know, not stretched properly or something. So another area of self-care is nurturing relationships. So looking for those social interpersonal reactions or interactions and kind of related to the question about, well, how do you do this? And make sure that you do it and not just have a good idea, is schedule time for it. For all these things, you have to schedule time for it. If you don't schedule time for it, it's not going to happen. Or it may, but it's less likely. So have some time with your adult friends, people you like to spend time with. So if it's nobody in your family, spend time with someone outside the family. If it's someone in your family, make sure you do spend time connecting with them, because you're going to have enough time connecting with all the others that maybe aren't so much fun. And have fun, because fun, laughter, comedy, it really does help. It fires off feel-good hormones in your brain, and that makes you feel better. So find friends that are fun. Like, don't always go with the, oh, you know, it's so gloomy, my life is so terrible. And you might already be feeling terrible and you hear that, and you can spend some time doing that, but find someone else who's able to help you laugh through it. Spend time just having fun with your child. So when you have a child with special needs, especially one who has a lot of skill deficits and they need training and they need intervention, there can be a lot of pressure on parents and self-pressure that I have to be teaching him all the time. You know, I need to make sure that he's, you know, following this schedule, and he's, you know, I'm just using positive reinforcement for all the positive things he's doing, and, you know, all of that, and really overthinking the parenting. And so think of things you can do that are just fun. And in fact, when I started getting help working with my son, that was one of the things that the therapist said to me is, when you're playing with him, just play with him. Like, take his lead. And, you know, I didn't really like having to pretend I was the plant-eating dinosaur, and I could only be the plant-eating dinosaur because he always had to be the T-Rex. The T-Rex would always attack me. But I just got into that role, I'll play with it, rather than saying, well, gee, I used to say, how do you think that plant eater feels when he's attacking him? And how do you think those sounds of the T-Rex screaming are on his ears? So I let go of all those kind of, trying to teach him empathy or theory of mind, and just tried to play with him. And when you start to have fun with your child, you're going to appreciate and enjoy your child. And guess what? They're probably going to appreciate and enjoy you too, rather than running from the room. I would also say this for EAs, geez, the teachers might get mad at me if I say this, but don't just always be trying to teach that kid, like have some fun with them, joke around with them. Because I know for my son, we often had this issue with as soon as the EA, he didn't always have a lot of EA support, but the EA would show up in the room and he would hide. He'd find a plant or something or a garbage can or something. And the EA sometimes would say, geez, he just doesn't like me. And I said, no. You're coming into the room and you're bringing the math. That's what he's running from, because he's just associating you with these tasks that you're trying to get him to do. So make sure you spend some time engaging and having fun and doing things that he likes or that you like together. It's like building that relationship. Behavior analysts would say pairing yourself with reinforcements. That sounds like very technical. So just build on the relationship and have fun with the kid. Get help when needed. I can't oversay that. For anybody today, and I thought about this in doing this presentation, this isn't a therapy session, but it is intended to be therapeutic. And whenever you are looking at something that may be difficult for you, and especially if you haven't looked at it even ever or for a long time, it can start to trigger some things for you. And so, even from today, if you're starting to feel, vulnerable, who can you go to for help? Can you reach out to Employee System Program? Can you get help from your medical practitioner? Can you call a good friend and chat? Don't try to bottle it up and deal with it on your own. So identify those people that you can call for support and resist the urge to withdraw. That's actually something that I'm guilty of, and I have good friends who remind me of it. If they don't hear from me from a long time, they have a hint that I'm not doing very well, because, that's just an urge that some of us can have when we're not feeling very well, is just to shut everything out and sort of like close down. And you see teenagers often do this, where they pull the hoodie over themselves, right? They shut down when really what they need is connection. So try to resist that. Maybe what you need is a break away from things to do something nourishing and then connect. And as we're going through all this, as I've reminded you before, feel free, and please, I encourage you to write down what resonates with me. What can I do? Who can I connect with? Okay? So manage and appreciate your work. We talked about this a little bit earlier in terms of workplace protector. So it's not always easy to do. And I don't know who came up with the idea that parents and let's say mothers, just can do everything. I actually was convinced when I first became pregnant that was the way it was going to be. I believed it. I am woman, hear me roar and all that. But I realized it was not possible. Something was going to go. So where are you going to devote your time, and what do you need to let go of? Maybe you're not going to have a really clean house all the time. And, you're going to order takeout sometimes because there's just too much to do otherwise. And maybe you're not going to work 18 hours a day. And maybe the job that you currently have, which is overly demanding, needs to change. So just think about that. So where are you able to spend less time?